Hey everybody, what's up? Mike back. In today's video, we're going to pick up where we left off and we're going to continue talking about Camtasia. Now let me just be upfront with you. I'm not the guy that's gonna go through every individual feature of Camtasia. I'm the guy that's gonna teach you how to use it so that you can make the best possible videos without spending 5 weeks learning how to use the product. Let's jump in just with that knowledge in our heads. That's my caveat here. So if I skip something, don't worry, we'll probably go over it in a later video. Now, in our last lesson, we got Camtasia installed, right? I kind of assumed that you were able to get it installed. At that point, I showed you some settings you needed to enable to make sure that you could do screen recording, that you could record your microphone, system audio, all that. And then we went ahead and we saved our very first project, and we didn't do anything fancy. We just kind of recorded a basic screen capture here where I just moved some windows around. Now, I want to show you how to go further with this. So in our case, let's say, so we have this media bin right here that you can access it by going to the tab up here. And this is basically where clips that you have recorded in this one project will be stored. So for example, if I hit record and I go, you know what, I just want to record my face and I do not want to record my desktop right now. And I'm not going to record my microphone just because there's no point because you can hear me, but let me hit start and we'll just record a few seconds of clips. So basically right now we can see that the Camtasia icon is red, and I can also see on my laptop that I have a little green light right there showing me that I am currently recording video. So now let's go ahead and stop that. We'll click stop. And we got that up here. So we can see that that clip we just recorded is now in the media bin along with the other one. So what we can do here in the media bin, by the way, you can right click on these videos. It could also be pictures, images, that sort of thing. In our case though, we can rename them. We can say desktop screen cap. We could then say unflattering video. So we can give them names. We could also right click and delete these files if we wanted to. We could also, let's see, we could also add to library. So when you add a file to library in Camtasia, it makes it available for other projects. So if you really liked one video or you had one video clip you're going to reuse, you can add it to library. And then in the future, as you create new projects, you can simply go to library right here. And those videos, those resources will show up there in your library. So that's the purpose of that. Now in our case, we'll go back to media. Now I want to go ahead and I want to drag this video into here. And my goal here is, I think I want that little video clip of me talking. I want it to show up somewhere on here, like maybe the bottom right of the screen. I think they call it like a talking head video. So what I can do to do that is simply click that video, drag it, and I want to put it on a different track. And the way Camtasia works, wow, that's really not flattering. Let's move that so I don't have to look at that. The way Camtasia works is based on kind of layers. So if I place it on a track that is above the bottom one, that's kind of the background layer right here, track 1. That means this video will be on top. And I could prove that, by the way, if I just took this screen capture file here and dragged it above that one. You can see that I don't see that other one. However, if I were to hide this track by clicking this eye right here, we can see that video is still there. So that's kind of the first thing you need to know, is that the order that you place these tracks down here does matter. Well, let's also get rid of this really unflattering video. Let's make it a lot smaller. So all we need to do is click on the file here and make sure the playhead is over it. From there, we can click the corners and we can just drag it and make it smaller. And I think I'm good with about there. And then we can click the center and we can move that wherever we want it to go. So I'll put it right about right there. Now, if you're not happy with that exact placement, you can also select the object or the video and you can use your keys. So I'm using my up and down arrows to get it just perfect wherever I want it and just click off of it. That's it. From there, maybe I want to also move it to the beginning of this track. Let me slide it over there. So now if I go to the very beginning, one of the quick ways you can hit play on your project so you don't have to keep pushing play right here, you can just use your space bar. Space bar will start and stop your video for you. So if I hit space, we see I'm talking, we see the background there. If I hit space again, it stops the recording there, or stops playback there, I should say. All right, The other thing I want to show you here that's kind of cool is, let's say you had, let's just pretend this was another video and I drag it here. And again, pretend these are two different unrelated videos. Maybe this is me talking, this is me talking from a different angle or something. So for this one, you know, maybe I want to put it, I don't know, maybe this one I want it like over here or something, right? Now, this is a pretty unrealistic example in terms of, you know, having me talking on one side of the screen and then moving to the other. But this is more about the arrangement of the clips in the bottom of the screen. So for example, I have this gap here between the two. What would happen if I left this gap here and I just hit play? Watch this and watch over here. If I hit play, we see me talking, I disappear, and now I'm talking again. And I don't really like that gap. I'm not really a fan of that gap. So what can I do about that? Well, one of the things we could do is we could click and drag this file until we see, let's see, a little line. Yeah, we would just move it all the way over. Oops, there we go. We didn't want to overlap it. So you got to get it kind of perfect. I'm not a fan of that. What I like to do, if I have any gaps there, there's this setting right here, and it says media on track will be magnetized. What this means is basically it will pull on that one track. Any clips, it'll pull them perfectly up against each other. So if I click that, watch that gap right there. If I click it, that gap is gone. Now it goes from playing that to switching completely over to that other part of the screen. And by the way, this also works if we disable it. Let's say, I'm gonna delete that. Maybe we have this way over here. If I click that magnetize button, we see it moves it over, and it tells you the track is enabled for magnetization. Is that even a word? I guess it is, I don't know. But we see that it now has these arrows here which show us that if you put a clip here, it's going to automatically be pulled over. So that's the other trick here. Now, the other thing I'll show you here as far as kind of understanding how to manipulate these files is there's one more setting here, and that is this lock. So this basically means if you lock a track, you cannot edit it anymore. This is really helpful when you have found, you know, maybe the background is perfect and you're working on the foreground, in this case, you know, maybe my lovely face here, if we move it over here. So I don't want to mess up the background. So maybe I lock track 1, and now I can't drag it. If I try to drag it, I can't do anything. It's completely locked from editing. So that's a good way to know, or to prevent yourself from making any mistakes. The last thing I want to cover for this video is we have the track names here. So we have track 1, 2, 3. If you wanted to make this a bit more readable, we can right click on it and we can go up to rename track. So we could say, you know, Mike's face, okay? And from there, if we can't read it all, so we can click this little section right here. You got to get your mouse almost perfect, but if we drag it over here, we can see more of that track. In addition to that, we can also right click anywhere over here on the left. We could also insert additional tracks. We could say insert a new track below or above for the purposes of being very organized. All right, and the last thing I want to show you here within Camtasia for this lesson is how to split a video. This is definitely one of the most useful things to do within Camtasia. Now, just to illustrate the point, I'm going to disable magnetization here just so that it doesn't pull anything the way that we don't want it to go. So from there, if I wanted to split this video, maybe I want to cut off a piece of a video, maybe the beginning, maybe the end, or maybe some dead space between. First, all you have to do is move your playhead to wherever you want to cut it. So we'll say I want to cut off like maybe at the very beginning of this video right here. Keep in mind which track we're working with. And all I got to do is right click once I get the playhead perfectly where I want it to be. And we can then go to split at playhead right here. And that splits it into two separate tracks there, or two separate video files, I should say, not tracks. So we still have those, the files are still there, we still have the content, so if I hit play, we can see it plays there, and it picks up where it left off. So that's how we would split one track. Now, as with most types of software, if we make a mistake, we can do Command-Z, and we can keep pressing it until we go back to that original state where we were at. In addition to that, there's an easier way to split these tracks. So all you have to do is remember the shortcut Command-T on your Mac. So from here, let's say I want to split it right here, Command-T, it splits it, there you go. Likewise, let's go back and say, what if we wanted to split both tracks at the same time. Can we do that? Absolutely. All you got to do in this case is the same command you just did, except you're adding shift. So it would be shift command T. And now if we highlight both of those tracks, I can move them and we can see that I've now split multiple tracks at the same time. This is really useful if you want to keep those tracks in sync. That way you can slide them wherever you want. We could, if in this case, maybe delete the beginning. So I just highlighted them, hit delete. From there, we can then highlight the remaining tracks. And if I really wanted to, I could just move them over manually or enable the magnetization feature. And we're back to normal here without that kind of beginning part that we trimmed out. So that said, I hope you found it useful. In the next video, we'll continue where we left off and go even deeper into Camtasia. And don't forget on your way out to hit subscribe so you get more content just like this. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. Take care.